Hello, hello, and welcome to BISP Solutions. So we are going to continue our today's session on Oracle Fusion Financials. Okay, so in the previous sessions we have completed. So in today's session we are going to do the prepayment invoices. Okay, so how many invoices we have covered in the previous session? That is the debit memo, the debit invoice, the credit invoice. We have covered the standard invoice, that is the normal invoice we have created, and we have also covered the invoice creation via spreadsheet, that is ADFDI. It is considered as a standard invoice. So now we are going to cover the prepayment invoices. Okay, so what is prepayment? A prepayment is a type of invoice that we enter to pay an advance to a supplier or employees. For example, we may need to pay a deposit on a lease, or we may need to pay an employee in advance for travel expenses. We can later apply the prepayment to one or more invoices or expense reports we receive from the supplier. So it means that we are paying any advance to a supplier. Here we are doing the accounts payable, so we consider that we are paying the amount in advance. Okay, then we create a standard invoice, and then we can set off that advance payment. Okay, advance amount. Okay, so we have to create the invoice based on the purpose. We have to create the prepayment invoice to get advance to supplier. Okay, so now there is a two types of invoice prepayment invoices available, that is the temporary invoice and the temporary invoice and the permanent type prepayment. Okay, temporary prepayments can be applied to invoices or expenses reports that we receive. For example, we use a temporary prepayment to pay our hotel catering deposits. When the hotel's invoice arrives, we apply the prepayment to the invoice to reduce the amount we pay. Okay, so permanent prepayments cannot be applied to invoices. That is, for example, suppose we use a permanent prepayment to pay a lease deposit for which we do not expect to be invoiced. Okay, so if we want to apply a prepayment to one or more invoices or expenses reports, we must first approve and pay the prepayment. We can control when a prepayment is available by the settlement date we entered and by optionally applying a hold to prepayment. Okay, when we enter an invoice for a supplier or whom we have outstanding temporary prepayments, Payable notifies us that we have prepayments available that we can optionally apply. Okay, so what we are going to do, first we are going to create a prepayment invoice of $25,000. Okay, okay, then we process payment for prepayment invoices. Okay, so after that we will create a standard invoice. Say we create the standard invoice of $10,000. Then what we'll do, then we apply that prepayment invoice to standard invoice. Standard invoice. Okay, that is $10,000. Okay, okay, we will perform these four steps here. Okay, so how we'll go first, first we go to the instances. Here first we are going to create. Okay, so the first thing we will configure the invoice option, that so that the prepayments invoices can be activated. Okay, so from here we will go to a project. We go to the project, we go to the invoice options. Okay, we go to the manage invoice options. Okay, then we go and click manage invoice options. That task we have done when we were creating the invoice option and the payment options after the supplier. But here, okay, so I told you that we will see these steps one by one when this issue will come up. So here the first thing will come up, the prepayment here. So the first thing is payment terms. It is defaulted that immediate. Okay, you want to change your payment terms while doing the prepayment, you can choose it. Remember, when you choose this payment terms to this prepayment, then it will apply to this. Suppose you want to pay up the payer on net 45, it will be decided, it will be selected defaulted that it will be getting a net 45 of the terms. So we have choose the immediate. Here is the settlement days. Settlement days means, suppose I have selected 3 days, so it means when you issue the issue the prepayment invoice, so the prepayment invoice cannot be adjusted before 3 days, so it will be adjusted after 3 days. It will not going to be adjusted before 3 days. It will not allow, the Oracle will not allow you to settle the date before 3 days. Okay, when you have issued the invoice, so it will give you the 3 days total. So we are not going to select this option. Okay, here we have to select this, show available prepayments during invoice entry. So why this, why we will select this? So because if we won't be able to select this, it will not show you. We will see when we are going to create the prepayment invoice and the standard invoice on the supplier beside the supplier's name. Okay, so we have to select this checkbox. And the next thing is use distribution from purchase order. So it means that if any purchase order has been raised, so we can just settle it down with that purchase order, and it will be select this. If you not select this, it will not get effect when we are performing. Okay, then we click save and close. And now after that we are going to create the prepayment invoice. Okay, here create the invoice. Go to the normal create invoice, but from there, remember I told you 3 types already. Now this is the 4th type at that time telling you, that is the prepayment. So standard we have done, debit memo we have done, credit memo we have already covered. The last one is the prepayment. Retainage release is not with us, right? Okay, so now here we will select a business unit. Okay, we select a supplier. We are not going to give the invoice group anything as well. Okay, so now we will just give the invoice number, that is prepayment invoice number 1. Okay, the amount we will give 25,000, and the type we will select the prepayment. Okay, so now the prepayment. Now we will go and select the lines. Okay, so the lines, here you will see the lines has been already selected. So from where we have configured this? Okay, the prepayment is defaulted selected by the Oracle, if you can see. Okay, the combination, let me show you. As you can see, the prepayments has been already been selected. Why it has been selected? When we were creating the common options under there, while configuring the AP, we have provided this. So this is basically from the supplier's point of view, that is the distribution, that is the prepayment. Okay, not from us, because when we issue the prepayment invoices, the amount will go to the prepayments, and then it will be settled when we create the standard invoice. Okay, so we click on OK, and we enter this line amount. Okay, now if you see this show more, when you click on this, you will see the allow prepayment application. If So this if this allow prepayment application is disabled, it means that it is a permanent prepayment invoices, because if we deselect this option, it will not allow you when we are going to settle the payment. But if we select this, it will show you that this amount will be applied after this. So this is, if we check on this checkbox, it means that it is temporary. If it is disabled, it means it is permanent. So we are not going to change this. Just if you want to change the date, you can change it. Remember, these terms date and this date is different. Okay, the date when we issue the invoice, as most common practice is when we use this terms date, we use the same date. The apply after date, it will come up when you want the amount to be settled after which date, we can select it. Remember, the amount will be settled only after the date we have provided. Okay, so we have selected this date, that is the today's date. We click on show less, and now after validating this invoice, this prepayment invoice, in the previous invoices, when we create the standard invoice, when we validate the option, the status is given is validated. Let's see what is the option it will be provided. If we click validate, okay, you can see the after validating, the status of this prepayment invoice is unpaid. Why it is showing the unpaid invoice? Why it is showing the unpaid invoices? Because it is showing the unpaid invoices, because it is showing the unpaid invoices because the amount has not been paid. Basically, we have issued but it is unpaid. Okay, so it will be settled when we create the standard invoice. Okay, so we click save and create the next. Now we create a standard invoice, that is the normal invoice. We select a business unit, we select the test. Okay, we select, and we are now just giving 10,000, issuing the 10,000. We are not going to select any, we are not going to change anything. Okay, so now we will select the line, select the distribution site, that is the rent. And then we are going to select this. Okay, so we have selected. Now before validating, okay, we can validate this. Okay, we can validate this first of all. Okay, we validated this amount, but what it will show you, this validated options, that it is unpaid and it is unaccounted. Okay, after this we will click apply or unapply prepayments. It means when you apply to a certain invoices the prepayment. Okay, and but you have just mistakenly you applied the any invoice. Okay, so you can apply, you can unapply those. So we click on apply on unapply, it will show you the amount. Okay, here you can see the manage, it will show you the 10,000 and 10,000 amount. Okay, so it means we have to pay the 10,000 amount. Okay, then we go and click, okay, we first click on pay in full. Okay, after the, okay, before we have to pay this full. Okay, we click choose this, I provide, submit this. After submission, you can see it has been paid, but after submission we have to apply it. Okay, well, let's a minute. We have turned up something wrong. Let's a minute. Okay, let's create another invoice. Okay, let's create another invoice. We create another invoice because of something happened there. Now suppose we give 131 and we are giving on 5000 only. That is the invoice. Okay, and we provide 5000 and we provide right from here. Okay, so before validating we are going to apply or unapply. Okay, we click save and close. And we validate that there. Okay, after validating we will go. There is something wrong in the we have provided all the details. Why it is not coming? Let's go and see. Okay, come and let's go and apply. Okay, we cancel it. Now again we will go. It has already been paid. Okay, let's create another invoice. Okay, let's create another invoice. Okay, and now we will give this invoice number is like that, 15,000. That will be a standard invoice, and we click this and we give the amount of 15,000 to this rand. We validate the invoice. Okay, the valid invoice has been validated. We click on save. Now here you can see we created the save. The so when you go and click on apply or unapply, let's log in and let's re-log in it, because I think the site has been some happen here, because it is not showing the invoice and it was not showing the prepayment. Okay, we click on test 11, we go under the navigation, we are going to create the prepayment invoice. Okay, here under the invoice option, we are going to create the first we are going to create invoice. Okay, that is the, we give a business unit and we give the supplier name to the test, we give the PPT 2, the amount will be 35,000, the invoice will be prepayment. Okay, and we see, okay, and we go from the line option, we selected that 35,000, we just validated. Okay, we validate this. Okay, we create, save and close. Now we create another invoice. Okay, we create another invoice, that is a standard invoice we are going to create. Okay, so so we will choose the business unit. Okay, from the supplier, okay, we give the invoice number is, okay, and we just take the 15,000. Okay, that is the standard invoice, and we select the invoice line. Okay, as well, we provide this 15,000 to the rent. Okay, okay, first we validate this. Validate this. Okay, again we are going there and validate this option. You can see it has been validated. Okay, so now we will apply, we will first apply or an apply to this prepayments. Okay, let's go and click save and close first. Okay, then we will come back to this invoice as well. Invoice 1. Okay, we have to see on the invoice option first. Let's see whether invoice options has been corrected or not. Okay, because we have just issued and we might be missed out something. We will first check the invoice option. We have selected, but still it is not getting. Let's go and see. Save and close. Done. Again, invoice. On the invoice, we go here and we select apply or an apply. So there is might be issue to this user. I am going to show you from another user. Let's see whether this action will be persistent or not. Okay, so I will relogin it with another user. Okay, here. Okay, let's go and create the invoice. Here you can see what I perform. Here you can see here I have selected this 25,000. I have created the prepayment invoices. Okay, the invoice I have created this 25,000. Okay, now then I applied to this here. So let's go and first create an invoice. Let's see the thing will be persistent or not. Okay, we select a business unit. Okay, we will select a supplier. Okay, we create a number of 35,000, create a prepayment. Okay, the invoice line will be there and we create 35,000. Okay, and you can see show more, and it has been selected here. Okay, show less, we validate this. Okay, and we create save. Now we create a new invoice, that is the standard invoice. Okay, now we will show the invoice of 20,000. Okay, that is the standard invoice. Okay, the line is will be going from here. We create 20,000. Cancel it first right now. Okay, we create invoice. Now we create an invoice. We create invoice of 20,000, that is the standard invoice. We validate this. Okay, now we will apply or unapply. Here you can see the prepayment. Okay, so first we will just validate it, and now we click save and close. Okay, let's go to a site. Okay, now this approval will come up. Now we'll go and see to the sites. Okay, so we will go to a site. Okay, we go to the payments option again. To the invoices, here on the complete option here. So the first we have provided this. Okay, so the status of this prepayment invoice is unpaid, so first we have to pay it. Okay, we click on pay in full. Okay, we first pay in full, that we have a script. Now we will pay in full this amount. Okay, we provide all the necessary banking details. Okay, and we submit it. So after submitting, it will show you the status of available. Okay, here you can see the status has been showing the availability of this prepayment invoices. So now we click save and close, and we move forward, and we see we have created a invoice. Okay, of 15,000. Okay, So here is the 15,000 amount has to be paid. Now when I told you, when we checkbox this allowing using the prepayment, when it will while we checkbox this, if we didn't click that or checked that box, it will not show you the bell icon here to the supplier name. It means that the available prepayments of this supplier is available to us, so it is allow us to set off that amount. Okay, so now we will go and settled this payment with him. Okay, we click here, we apply or unapply this, and here you can see the amount is shown up here. Okay, we can just delete that amount, or can select on 5,000, or any amount we want to add, we can add it. Okay, so then we apply it, so the remaining amount will be remain to the supplier, that is on the prepayment. So now we selected 15,000 and we click on this and click apply. Okay, so the amount of 15,000 has been applied, so you can see the remaining amount of $10,000 is still remained with the supplier. We click on done, and here you can see it will come up here. So again we have to validate it, so we validated this amount, and we see the report, it is showing the payment of 15,000 US dollars paid. Okay, we click here and we click on pay in full. Okay, so after clicking the pay in full, you will able to see that this invoice has been already paid. So it means the invoice after creating the prepayment and applying with that prepayment invoice means that we are already paid the amount in advance to the supplier. Now we are just settling that amount. So this is the task, we have done it. Okay, so what now after that, we have completed the 4 invoices that is available here. That is the standard invoice, that is the normal invoice, the debit invoice, the credit invoice, and the lastly we have now completed the prepayment invoices. So we have completed the invoice part here, and it remains the many topics, so we will continue tomorrow because it will take some time. So I hope you will understand this session, and see you tomorrow. So thank you for joining this session, and thank you so much.